Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this week's video, Molly and I are going to be continuing work on our container workshop build series by adding a rough cut board and batten siding to the front of the container. This entire container build series was sponsored by iFixit for Fix It February, but obviously February is over, but that doesn't mean we should stop fixing the things we have and fighting for our right to repair. I just want to say thank you guys so much for the response we've had on this container build series, and iFixit obviously has seen it too because they're coming back and they're continuing to support this even past February. So thank you so much iFixit for sponsoring this week's video. If you're anything like us, we're constantly having stuff break around the house, whether it is a washer and dryer, our phone, or even our Dyson vacuum cleaner. Stuff is just constantly breaking, and iFixit is there to help you fix stuff instead of sending it to the landfill, which not only saves the planet, but also saves you a whole bunch of money. Or even this Bissell vacuum, which Molly just brought to me and said, hey, the power button's not working. So let's whip out our Mako iFixit toolkit and see if we can't get this thing fixed. And just like that, with some cleaned up contacts, let's see if it works.
Hey!
Look at that! Best part of iFixit's kits is I just, of course, knocked this whole kit off the counter, and all the bits are still there. They didn't go flying all over the place, and I didn't lose one because they have these awesome cases for their bits and driver sets. This particular set will be linked in the description below, as well as a few others. So if you guys want to pick something up as a gift for either yourself or somebody else, these can save you a bunch of money. Just saved us about 170 bucks on a new vacuum cleaner, so be sure to check the links in the description below, and thank you iFixit for constantly fighting for our right to repair, which is something that Molly and I care so deeply about, and thank you so much for supporting our channel. Let's get into the video.
An exciting day.
Yep, this week on the container build series, Molly and I are going to be insulating the outside as well as putting on the board and batten siding. So you're going to get to see a big transformation, and we're starting off down there on that end, creating a trim piece that will allow us to start putting in all of our insulation and hopefully get rolling on this, and maybe by the end of the day have this front done. So let's get started.
Bye bye blue.
Yep. Alright, I want to show you the impact the insulation is already having. It's pretty pretty remarkable. So currently, come on, we're at 105 degrees right there.
That's the non-insulated side.
105 degrees on the container wall that doesn't have insulation. Currently the roof, 77.5 degrees. Massive difference. And then even over here, where we literally just put the insulation in, so there's still some temperature held in the metal, 77.9. So there is a 27 degree delta between the non-insulated and the insulated. And that's only going to get better once the entire thing is insulated and the thermal transfer of heat to non-insulated to insulated areas is resolved, as well as we're going to have a full inch of wood on top of this, which is actually has a pretty good R value to it. So I'm pretty excited about that, because if we can keep this thing in the 80s without AC, like, that's going to be amazing. That means
nice.
With a dehumidifier in here and a little bit of fan movements, it'll actually be comfortable. You probably won't even have to heat and cool this thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying all this theoretically. We'll have to wait till we get this thing done and like really try it. But it is...
Anything's better than what it was before.
It feels like it's 90 degrees outside right now. So...
It's working.
We'll have to wait till it's actually like 100 degrees outside during the summer to see how it does. Well, I was going to put foil tape over all these seams, but I very quickly ran out of foil tape, and foil tape's not cheap. And I don't really know why I felt it necessary to do that, because all of the foam is waterproof. The wood battens are fine if they got wet. And then there's a giant waterproof container behind it, so it's not like if water ever gets behind the siding that, you know. So I don't know why I'm doing it. And also it covers up my batten, so it's hard, or my furring strips, so it's hard to see where to nail. So I'm just not going to do it anymore. I think we're ready to get on to siding.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. If you look over my shoulder, we've got some fairly big gaps in between these boards. And unfortunately, that's because a lot of these boards, because they're rough cut, they have a little wave to them, or if there was a knot or something, there's a part that kind of kicks out on them, and they're not perfectly straight. So getting them level So getting them nice and level is almost a game because the level doesn't even sit flat or straight against them. So even what's straight on the board is unknown. So we're just sort of having to do the best we can. And I'm hoping that the battens will be able to get those more vertical or level easier. And they'll definitely hide the gaps, which is, you know, all that really matters. But so far it's been pretty challenging putting this up, not gonna lie.
You have to go like each board instead of every fifth one, it's each one.
Yeah, each one you're trying to, but then again, it's like the edge is so cut, is wavy, so when you put the level against it, the level can rock, so it's like, what is straight, you know? Decide how much of this I want. How far down I want this to go.
Yeah, pretty short ones.
I don't know what you're saying.
I mean, like, you can't go lower than that.
Oh. Yeah, I think I'll go with my original plan. Oh. Oh. That's rough. The goal is to have this thing centered, right?
Yeah.
Over the gap. So it's really hard for you to see that.
Yeah.
But that's going to be our goal. Actually, it's easier for me to see that. Alright, we're putting all the door jamb trim in, as well as the outer casing trim to our door here, and I wanted to show some of the details that I'm doing. This is all rough cut lumber, so it's not going to be perfect, but these are just some general details that might help you out. So we've got our inner sort of casing board that actually runs into the existing jamb of the door. And as you'll notice, everywhere in here there are steps. We leave about 1/4 of an inch of overhang or setback, however you want to look at it, and that gives you a place to apply caulk if you want to. So they have that inner jamb that goes all the way around first, then we cover that up with the outer sort of frame or casing that goes around that, leaving that setback. I don't know if we're ever going to actually caulk this or not, because this is going to be under roof. There's going to be a lean-to over here, so probably doesn't matter at all. But speaking of that, this is our top board that is going to go across between these two. If you were doing this in a place where it was going to get rained on, you would want to bevel the top edge of this. So you'd want to create an angled cut on the top of here, so that as water runs down the siding, it would run hopefully over this and over the door instead of trying to go back underneath the siding. And then you would do the matching bevel cut on your battens so that they line up properly. I'm not going to do that because, again, we're going to have a lean-to over this thing, so I'm not going to overcomplicate this for the sake of overcomplicating it. But and I'm also doing all this with a circular saw, ripping all these boards with a circular saw. In fact, we've built pretty much this entire thing with a circular saw, drill, and nail gun. So yeah, it's not going to be absolutely perfect, but as this thing grays in and weathers and starts to look more like a barn, those details are going to fade away. It's not really going to matter. So get this nailed up and we'll continue with our battens. $24 1/4. 24 1/4. Alright, 24 1/4 all the way. It's gonna be a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, a 23 1/4.
24.
24 1/4. Trying to figure out how we want to do these rafters. Well, look at it right now. We've got it sort of mocked up. Right now they're slid into the framing of the pony wall that sits on top. This is the way I originally planned on doing it, and they'll just get fastened into that pony wall from the side. It's like, you know, the easiest possible way to do this. The only thing with that is that we'll have to put blocking in between each one so that we close that hole up. Not really a big deal. The only other thing is that we have to space these where those studs are in that pony wall, and that will mean that the spacing won't be perfect. It'll be a little odd spacing. I don't think you'll notice it until the very end, but the other option would be to run a 2x6 across the front that all of these would butt into, and we could pick our spacing at that point anywhere we wanted it to be, and we wouldn't have to do blocking. I'm leaning towards that, because if we do that, we can actually seal the entire building up, and it can be completely done without a lean-to, and then the lean-to can be added when we're ready to add the lean-to. Well, the weather has been less than ideal the last few days, but I got out here actually in the rain the other day, and I managed to get this whole stump ground up, so that's completely out of our way now, which is a big plus, because I'm sure you guys saw us struggling to get a ladder and everything else around that stump the entire build. And yes, the tree is obviously gone as well, but this week has gone by pretty fast, but I feel like we did get a lot accomplished, and it's looking awesome. That's the main thing. It really does look pretty amazing, and honestly, at the end of the day, that's kind of all that matters, you know, all the little inconsistencies and little bitty gaps or whatever that we had before we put the battens on, it's all gone, you know, and it's looking really cool.
It doesn't even look like a container if you cover the bottom up
if you
from
just don't
the
look
sun.
at the I-beam. We just need to post a deck off of it.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have a lean-to here, but we could still put a deck on it. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows where this will go?
Let's not get carried away.
Who knows where it'll go in the future, you know?
That's gonna do it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it was a little, what's the word, like mundane? Like it was
repetitive.
Just, yeah, repetitive. But you know what? We got a lot done, and it's the view that matters. You know what I mean? So we will see you guys next week.
Peace.